I say, Barakutet Yawa, the Hamburak, the Baruk Yawa, the Hamburak, the La Lamayed, the Barukata Yawa, the Elehenu, the Malek Halam, Asher the Bekar Banu, the Mikol, the Hamamayin, the Benatan Lenu, the Atotorato, Barukata Yawa, the Notain, the Hatorah, Barukata Yawa, the Elehenu Malek Halam, Asher Natan Lanu, the Toret, the Vomet, the Bakaye, Olam, the Data, the Betokinu, Bodrokata Yawa, the Nothain, the Ha Torah. Blessed are you, Yawa, you are the blessed one. Blessed are you, Yawa, you are the blessed one for all eternity. Blessed are you, Yawa, our Elohim, the King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples and gave us his Torah. Blessed are you, Yawa, you are the giver of the Torah. Blessed are you, Yawa, our Elohim, you're the King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth, and he planted eternal life within us. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the giver of the Torah. I say hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful Shabbat. Oh boy, we're we're going through it. We're going through it. We're going through it. This season is very interesting. You know, this last week we've been talking about what's going on in the book of Genesis, chapter number 41 to chapter number 44. I'll give you a summary of everything we've been talking about. In summary, we've been discussing the life of Yosef, and in his life, there's quite a bit of challenges that he experienced, him and his family. Chapter number 41 pretty much talked about, you know, Yosef being, you know, going into Egypt. It talks about him being coronated as being someone who's in charge, as a ruler. We understand that his brothers came back to Egypt. You know, they came back with Benjamin. And so they've been having all these different challenges. One of the things that has popped out to me during this week of this Torah portion called Makates is that the word itself again means to the end, but it also means to awake. Because every time someone had a dream, especially Pharaoh, in context, he would awake and he would explain this. And so Makates means to come at the end of something. It's either an end of time, an end of a season, an end of trouble, the end of that which is good, and or that which ends up being bad. So in life itself, we're always going to have these challenges, and it's something that we're all going to have to deal with. This family that we're all part of, it's a pretty incredible family. I think on Yom Kamishi, which is what they were known as Thursday, turned out to be a time where we realized that the Creator has created us for a purpose. And that particular responsibility is a very difficult one. It's not easy. Okay. I'm going to share something with you right quick. And let me pull it up right quick for us. There it is. Anja. Let me go here. All right, here we are. If you're online, if you could place your phone or device on mute, and then if you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you. All right, so where we left off was about this loincloth. It was something that the prophet Jeremiah was told to take a cloth and go hide it in a place, and go hide it in a rock. And then once you go hide it, I want you to go back and get it. And he got it. And this is what the Holy One of Israel has said about Joseph, or excuse me, about the children of Israel. He says, for just, and this is verse number 11, for just as the loincloth clings to a man, I made the whole house of Israel and the whole house of Yehuda cling to me, says Yahweh, so that they could be my people, building me a name and becoming a source of praise and honor. But they wouldn't listen, okay? The responsibility of this family, of the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda, has only been designed for one purpose. And that purpose is to cling to the Holy One of Israel, to cling to the creator of the heavens and the earth, okay? And we are these people. We're the people that Yahweh chose to be someone who's close to him. And as a result of being close to him, it requires us to be a certain type of people. We're going to have to be able to execute righteousness and justice, not only in the land, but also in our own homes. But it all begins with the individual. It starts with us as an individual. And that's what we're going to be able to see today in our study, is that everything begins with us as an individual. And then it transpires and it goes out to the family. And then it goes out from the family into the community. And then it goes out to the community to different lands. And then it goes out from the lands to the whole entire world. This is Yah's whole intention of calling us his family. This is a big deal. This family's had a lot of issues. I mean, even from the time of the marriage of Yaakov, there's been a lot of contention. There's been contention with him, his father-in-law. He was deceived. There was contention between him and his brother Esau. There was contention among, the people of Aram and Laban's sons. There was contention. Yaakov is always facing contention. And now he's had this contention in his family. He's had where they had his daughter got raped, his one of his wives has been violated by his son, and it just keeps going on and on. And then we came last week in our Torah portion when it talked about how Joseph was taken from him and how he experienced that loss. And then, his sons killed, a whole bunch of people back when they raped Dinah. So people around him wanted to harm him. And Yah has always protected him. We see also, too, that he, like I said, he lost Joseph. And he's been grieving for this whole time. So last week, we've moved at least 13 years since last week in this narration. And through that 13 years, this man has been grieving. So he gravitated to his final son, which is Benjamin, the son of his right hand, which he named, which was the son that was born to him after his wife died, Raquel, the one whom he really loved. So it's always something going on. We see the death of Yehuda's sons. Yah killed them for the reasons that we talked about in those Torah portions. I won't go over. You can read it for yourselves. I believe it's in chapter number 38 of Genesis. I'm just trying to give us a backdrop of where we are. We also realized that what we brought out last week was what they call, having duplicity. The children of Israel have a very duplicitous attitude, meaning that they'll say one thing and do something completely different. We also found that they hated Joseph. They hated him because their father loved him. So they've been bringing this family's had a lot of problems. Okay. Now, fast forwarding, we have issues now with a great famine that has come upon the land. So they had 7 years of good stuff. And then after that, they had 7 years of what you call not so good things. And this was having to do with the dream of Paro. Okay. Yah has placed Joseph in this position for the sake of the whole entire family. Okay. And he's been using the method of we call dreams, kalam, to express how he's going to deal with situations. Pharaoh had asked Joseph what his dreams meant. And Joseph told him, he said, listen, it's not in me to tell you this. It's Elohim who gives the interpretation of dreams. That word interpret means just to open up the understanding. Okay. And that's what we're interested in. We're interested in getting an understanding. This came about because there was a man who had a dream in prison who wanted to know what his dream meant. And Joseph explained it to him. And, when the opportunity came about, it came back to him about what it was that he did. He was a cupbearer. He was a servant of the Holy One. And he said, my sin has come upon me as I've been, reminded of my fault. And so this week we talked about how if a person comes to their end, they're going to have to acknowledge something. Okay. So this servant, as a servant of the Holy One of Israel, he's asking us to come to your end. When you come to your end, you're going to have a different type of attitude. Okay. You're going to have a different type of attitude. And it's going to cause you to start to dig deep, which goes to the point that we talked about the place where Joseph was. He was in prison, but also before that, he was in a well, in a dark place, in a deep place. And when we go to the deepest part and the darkest places of our lives, that's when we cry out. That's when we cry out, is when we go to those places. Okay. So we're seeing all these different dynamics of this family. And Yah has chosen this individual called Yosef. And his name means to increase. His name means to add. His name also means to remove what they will call reproach, because his mother named him this because she was having contention with her sister, which, by the way, all those kids that were born to Leah were in total opposition to each other. These women were using these kids to go back and forth. So there's been a war in the family. A complete, absolute war has been going on in Israel. Even to this day, oh, praise be to the Holy One of Israel. There's been a contention and there's been a conflict inside of the family of Elohim. Do we really believe that the creator of the heavens and the earth is happy with his children? Do we really believe that we're all on the same accord? Do we all really believe that our Father is happy because we're all getting together with one another? There's more hatred in Israel today than there was back then. The same problems that were in that family is the same problems that are in this family today. You think that the problem is just with your brothers and your sisters who don't believe what you believe? And I told you that's a whole other topic. I don't want to get into belief because we're not talking about belief. We're talking about what we know and what we can prove and what's real. It's not abstract. It's absolutely what it says it was. Just like that famine was absolutely famine, it wasn't spiritual. A lot of people get on me because I don't get on here talking about a whole bunch of spiritual stuff. I tell you what it is. What it is that our family has hatred. I told you that I shared with you on plenty of times. You can see the teaching on it. Hatred is putting distance between us and someone else. Two aspects. One is positive and the other one is negative. But we're going to experience this. But it's not for nothing. Yah sees everything. Yahweh hears everything. That's why he says, he called the name of one of the sons Shimon, because his mother said, Yah has heard my prayer. We also have one who's called Reuven. Yah sees. Yah hears and Yah sees. You understand? So Yah sees what's going on in his family. Our families have not been brought together. The house of Israel, okay, which consists of the tribes, 10 of the tribes, okay, Ephraim, Manasseh, Reuven, Shimon, Gad, Naphtali, Asher, okay. Zevulun, they're all separated from Yehuda and Benjamin. Levi is supposed to tie everybody back together. That's what his name means. His name means to join. That's why his mother named him Lewi, because Lewi, she said, perhaps now my husband will be joined to me because I've given him 3 sons. This is his 3rd son. And she named her other son Yehuda. Now she praised Yah because Yah has heard her prayers. That's why Judah's name's what he's named. All these names mean something. In Hebrew, your name is your character. Your name is your character. Hebraic names mean things, which we're going to get into our teaching, okay? Hebraic names mean things. Trying to get this pen working, forgive me. My I brought me a pen. Sometimes it wants to I don't know if it's the internet or whatever it may be, it'll come on. But anyway, in the Hebrew, names mean things. It's your character. It's the breath of you. It's the essence of you. It's who you are. Okay. So a lot of times these parents would name their kids based on their experiences that they were having with the Holy One of Israel. That's why Leah named her sons the way that she named them. That's why Raquel named her sons what she named them, because the experience that they were having. Okay. So these names have to do with a person's experience. And the experience has to do with the creator. Okay. That's the difference. Our names are just not, don't mean anything. It's how you breathe. It's the breath of you. It's your character. This is why a lot of us have decided we're going to change our names. If our name was, John, we say we don't like that. We want to make our name Yehochanan. Or I want to make my name Azaniah. Yah hears. I want to make my name Azania, that's a here, and Ezer Yah, that is Yah's my helper, or Adonai Yah, okay, or whatever. We're putting Yah all in our names. We're adding, additional names. Why? Because your name is your character. And what it is, you guys, it's literally like a phenomenon. Because this is happening all over the world as we speak. Out of nowhere, people are changing their names. When you go on Facebook, if you notice people that you went to high school with, they can't find you because you have a different name. I didn't change my name. I just changed the spelling of my name and pronunciation. It's Dalit. English is David. And it has a character. And one of the things about that name is this, and which is beautiful. In the Hebrew, David's name, just so you'll know, is a Dalit, a Wa, and a Dalit. Okay? Somebody tell me what a Dalit means in Hebrew.
Door.
Thank you. A Dalit is a door. So how many doors do we have in David's name?
2.
We got 2. Great. Now, somebody tell me what the Wa means in Hebrew. Right here. What does that mean? A Wa. What does it look like? Do you remember?
Connector.
The connector, which is the tent peg. Okay. And a tent peg is used to do what? Kent?
Whole thing in place.
Yep. Connection. Okay. So look at David's name. So here's the first door. Here's the second door. Okay. And this is what connects it. So it's 2 doors that are connected. Okay. What does a door belong to? Where do you find a door on? What's the first door you see when you go up to somebody's what?
House.
Bring feedback. Yes, house. Okay. So what you have here in his name is two houses. Okay. So one house is called the house of Yehuda. The other house is called the house of Yisrael, or what you would know as the house of Joseph, or better yet, Ephraim. Dalit is the connection between the two. He's the one between the two. He's going to take hold of both houses. Do you understand? And he's going to bring both of these houses what? Together.
Together.
So do you see the reason why the Holy One of Israel has chosen Dalit to be the king? Because Dalit is the type of king that Yahweh is going to use, and it's going to be one of his descendants. I've been arguing with people for at least the last 7 days on Facebook, and nobody will accept my challenge. They will not debate me whatsoever about Dalit, and we'll get a little bit into that. So just to let you know, Dawid's name is the one, in his name is his character. And Yah says that he's beloved, and he's one who has a heart, which is a mind after the Holy One of Israel. That's what he has. He has a mind. When we talk about heart, we're not talking about emotional. We're talking about logic and intellect that's used through a man's spirit. Yah gave us a brain. Do you understand that? And it holds information so it can make decisions. Okay. Yes, Rivka.
Because he's going to be a judge.
Yes. He's going to be a judge. And because Yahweh wants somebody, when it says he's a man after Yahweh's heart, what he's saying is Dalit has given his mind to the Holy One. He's given everything to him. He's given his mind. He's given him his thoughts. He's given him his emotions. He's given him all this. And the reason why Yah chose Dalit is because Dalit is going to be the example to the house of Israel about what they need to do. Now, there's nowhere in the New Testament whatsoever that this person, who they will call the Messiah, has ever told anybody to give their whole entire mind. Yah's asking for our minds. This is the give. This is what Yah's asking for. He's asking for every thought. He's asking for every intention. He's asking for every emotion. He's asking for it all. When he talks about giving a whole heart, okay, which they would call a call in Hebrew, means all. Okay, call means the palm of the hand. Okay, the palm of the hand holds what? It holds the staff. So he's asking for you to hold the staff. The lamed is the staff. I'm asking you to give me. When he talks about staff, what do you do with a staff in your palm of your hand? What do you do with it? Somebody tell me. What do you do with a staff in your hand?
You hold it.
You hold it, but what do you do when you got a staff and you just stand there? What do you do when you got a staff in your hand? What are you supposed to do?
Leave.
You're supposed to leave, and what else?
You're supposed to walk.
You're supposed to walk.
And guide.
Okay, and so once you start walking for somebody, what do you become? You're walking for what? Walking for what?
You become a servant.
You become a servant, but you're also what they would call a
shepherd.
Messenger. Okay, that's what you are, because a messenger is called a malach. Okay, that's what a messenger is. And in a malach, you have a mem right here, letter M. Then you got the L, which is the lamed, and then you got the kaf right here. But I told you that Yah says I want all. I want a kaf and a lamed. I want you to take the palm of your hand and grab the staff. And here I want you, this letter mem means from, meaning from walking. Lak means to walk. I need you to walk for me. I need you to be a messenger for me. That is what Yah has called Israel to do. You are a messenger. You're supposed to walk, and the way you're supposed to walk is upright. And right now, because we have a yoke of iron on our necks, is very difficult to walk upright for Yahweh, because we have a burden that has been placed on our neck. And Yah says, I got to remove that burden off your neck so you can walk uprightly before me. Someone is going to tell you right now that you and I are serving Yahweh. And I'm here to tell you right now, what we would think is that we're serving Yah, because we have an emotional desire and a craving to serve Yah. We're craving and yearning. And that's what we're doing. We're yearning for him. We're yearning to go back home. We have this great desire. But the question is, are you and I currently a light to the Gentiles today? Are they even looking at you? Are they asking you questions? Are they seeking the Torah from you? Are they asking you to take them to Jerusalem?
Nope.
No. A lot of people leave my class because I tell them things that I'm about to tell you. When Yah calls us into his service, you and I have to be clean. Right now, we're in a land of uncleanness. You're in a land of uncleanness. You're in a land of filth. You and I have called upon the names of other gods unintentionally and intentionally, and those things have not been washed away. They haven't. Because if they were, we would find in the book of Ezekiel, which I'm going to read to you right quick, it would tell us, clear this out. I don't want you to think that I'm telling you anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let him speak for himself, because that's the problem. Our people, our family doesn't want to listen to what the Holy One of Israel has to say. That's the only problem. Someone asks you, well, what did Yahweh say? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear what Yahweh has to say. They want to go off of how they feel. And that's the problem. Okay. We're not talking about how we feel. We're talking about what did he say? Okay. So let's look what he says. I made a statement that said that we're unclean. You should expect this from every person that ever comes into your life and you desire for them to be a teacher to you, or if you want to listen to anything they have to say, you want to be able to ask them, you show me where that's at, and stop being a coward. Go ahead and ask them, show it to me. Where you're being aggressive, you're not being friendly, you're not being loving, you're not being kind. You got the wrong spirit. No, I'm going to tell you what it says. Listen to these actions. Verse number 16, chapter number 36 of Ezekiel. This is written way before the New Testament. The word of Yahweh came to me, human being. Did he say Ezekiel? No, he didn't. He said human being, son of man, human being. When the house of Israel lived in their own land, they defiled it. They defiled it by their manner of life and their actions. Okay? That's how you defile the land. You guys say, well, why is he laughing? Because I start seeing things and it's making clear to me. Defilement is by your manner of your life and your actions. Yah is going to hold us responsible. He's going to hold you and I responsible for our life, and he's going to hold us responsible for our actions because we are his people. Their way, the way of life before me was like the uncleanness of Anita. This is when they were in their land, in their own land. So stay in context. Therefore, I poured out my fury on them. Clear all this out. What did he pour out? I poured my love on them. I poured my forgiveness on them. I poured my mercy. No, I didn't pour that. I poured out my fury on them. That's what I gave them because of the blood that they have shed in the land. I had a big contention with someone, I keep asking them. Rivqua, my wife, keeps asking everybody, when does Yah justify the shedding of innocent blood? Never. Okay. He said, I got on them because this is what they did in the land, because they defiled it with their idols, because the idols that they were worshiping allows them to kill innocent people. Just like the New Testament allows you to kill innocent people. The God that you serve or the idols that you're dealing with, that's what controls the manner of life that you have in your actions. Don't you get it? This is why he wants to be our Elohim. So he can change the way that we live. He could change our mind. He could change those things. Yes, Rivqua.
That's why the God of this land will allow the Goyim to do what they've done to Israel. The slavery, the murder, the rape, and have no, because of the God that they serve, because they have a savior.
They have a savior and they have instant forgiveness.
Right. Nobody's held accountable for nothing. That's why you see it in the justice system. Like the guy that got off for shooting the three people and the 2 people died.
Nothing. He got off. He walked, and the judge sang a song with him after it was done. You see? So the life that you live and the manner of life that you live has to do with the idols. So that's why we have to get these idols away from us, because they're the ones who are dictating how we live, because we're looking to them to show us how to live and what's acceptable is not acceptable. Okay, so he said, look, I scattered them among the nations. Who? Israel. And I dispersed them throughout the countries. I judged them in keeping with the manner of life and actions. If you and I are going to understand how things are going to work for us in our life, then you have to understand that Yah is only going to judge us according to how we live our lives. And what do we do? Is in here, I want to ask you, is there any word here for belief? Did he say how much faith do you have? Did he mention anything about what they didn't believe? No, it has to do with what they were doing. You understand? It has to do with what you're guarding, what you're doing, how you're living, how you're thinking. It has to do with that thing that you have in your head called your mind, which in Hebrew, it's an abstract of the heart, which has to do with your thoughts. Your thoughts is in your mind. That's what dictates your manner of life and your actions. Verse 20, when they came to the nations that they were going, they blessed my holy name. Accepted. They is including you and I and our ancestors. Okay? You and I want to get out. No, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with this. I ain't profaned his name, because you and I don't understand what profaning his name means. I'm not saying that you and I are going around saying anything against the Holy One of Israel. There's another level of profanation that you and I don't have a clue about. Just like there's a level of cleanness and uncleanness that you and I don't have a level of understanding about. There's a level that Yah says I got to call the people of Israel to that's beyond what you and I believe to be true. The blessing that I have for you goes beyond what you think a blessing is. You want to quantify what I say is a blessing. You want to quantify and qualify what's acceptable to me in my eyes as if you have my eyes. I tell you something, you tell me no. That's not what we've done. I tell you you're a whore, you say, no, I'm not. I tell you you've been profaning my name, you say, no, I'm not. I tell you you don't have my spirit, you say, no, I got your spirit. These people are not listening. So why are you here today? You're here so Yah can continue to warn and tell us, all of us. This is the reason why he used the term with Ezekiel as human being. You filthy human being. You think that you could come in the presence of the Holy One of Israel and say that you have been approved? Do you and I really believe that we can walk up in front of the King of the universe and say that you and I have nothing to hide and we've been clean? God says something totally different. Listen what he says. They profane my holy name. So people said of them, these are Yahweh's people who have been what? They have been exiled from his land. It's not our land, it's his land. Leviticus 25 says it's my land forever. A beautiful land I gave to you. But he says this, I'm concerned about my holy name. My holy name. His name is greater. Listen to me. His name is greater than Hashem. His name is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. That's his name. Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. We went over this before. You want to know what he is, and you want to know what his name represents, then you're going to go to Exodus chapter number 34 and verse number 6 and hear the proclamation that he said about his name. Merciful, compassionate, loving, forgiving. But I won't exonerate the guilty. I'm going to pay everybody back for their manner of life and conduct. Where's the mercy? The mercy is in Yah says, I will forgive your sins. I will forgive you. I don't need to kill any innocent person for you. I don't need to do that. But what's in my name, Yod-Heh, the Wad-Heh, which is mentioned over 6,828 times in the whole entire Tanakh. 0 in the New Testament. Not one time is his name mentioned over there. No one declares his name. We have been exiled from Yahweh. We have profaned his holy name, but he's concerned about his holy name, which the house of Israel is currently profaning. Participle, as we know, present tense. Not profaned, profaning among the nations where they have gone. Is he saying that you and I are doing this deliberately? No, that's where we get lost in the sauce. Because I'm not saying anybody on here is deliberately profaning Yahweh's name. Yah said, by the sheer virtue of you being exiled and being in all the nations, you have become unclean. Because I'm telling you that where you are in the nations and where I have sent you, you have profaned my name. Why did I allow this to happen? Because through the same people that have profaned, that is profaning my name, are the same individuals. Oh, this is chapter number 36. Ezekiel, chapter number 36. The same individuals that are profaning my name are the same individuals that I'm going to be glorified through. I got to show you who I am. So I'm allowing this profanation of my name. Because the same people that say you profane, the same people are going to see you my name will be glorified in front of all these people, like it was in Egypt. 21. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned. Yah has concern. Yes, he does. I have concern about my holy name, which the house of Israel is profaning among the nations where they have gone. Therefore, tell the house of Yisrael. Who is the house of Yisrael? Context. Is he just talking about the 10 tribes here? No. He's talking about the whole entire family of Israel. The whole entire house, both Israel and Judah, have been exiled to the nations where they have gone and they have profaned Yahweh's holy name. You better tell this family of mine that this is what Yahweh Elohim says. This. I'm not going to do this for your sake, house of Israel. Oh, I'm going to do something, but I ain't going to do it for your sake. I ain't going to do it for your sake, but I'll guess what, house of Israel, but for the sake of my, what? Of my holy name, which is Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. So this is one of the biggest problems that the children of Israel have as a family. Number one, we don't know his name. Some people think his name is Yeshua. His name is in Yeshua. He's our salvation. You understand? When he talks about his name, oh, I know his name. You think he's talking about pronunciation? Is that what you think he's talking about here? You think he's saying someone doesn't know the difference between Yohe-Wahe and then Yehovah versus Yahuwah? You think that's what he's talking about? Somebody call me Yahweh. Some people call me Yahuwah. Some people call me Yahweh. Some people call me Yehovah. Some people call me Yehovah. You think he's talking about they don't know the pronunciation of my name? But I told you when we started this lesson that the names mean something. The name of Yahweh is his character. I'm telling you what his character is.
He exists.
I am the self-existing one, and I'm going to prove it to you.
Whew.
You hear what I'm about to tell you? Because obviously you guys don't know who I am. Rifqua, go ahead and mute. So I don't get no feedback. Thank you. 34:6 says this. Yahweh passed before him. And what did he say? He said, Yo-he-Wahe. Yo-he-Wahe. He said it twice. What did he tell you? What is he telling us? What is he proclaiming? He says, I'm merciful. Woo, you better hear me. I'm the one who's going to come and show you mercy when you don't deserve it. I'm not doing this for your sake. I'm doing it because of who I am. When you think about my name, I'm not telling you a pronunciation. Don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get lost in the sauce. I'm compassionate. I am compassionate. I should destroy you, but I'm not. I made a promise to your fathers. I'm slow to anger. If I destroyed you right now, I would be breaking my covenant. I've been dealing with you for thousands of years. I'm rich in grace, enough grace and truth that will follow you through time. I don't care where you go. I'm always going to love you. I'm going to show you. I'm showing the grace to 1,000 generations. I'm forgiving offenses. This is what I do. I forgive offenses. I forgive crimes. I forgive sins. Yet I'm not exonerating the guilty. I cannot let the guilty person go because that would go against who I am in my name. I will cause the negative effects of the parents' offenses to be experienced by their children. And this is the reason why I will allow you to name your child, because that's what an experience is as well. I will let you name your child talking about the experience that you're having at the time that you're having it. So I will be glorified. So every time you mention that child's name, you'll think about me. Every time Leah called Yehuda's name, she thought about the praise of Yahweh. Every single time Joseph's name was mentioned, Raquel knew that Yah was going to add another one to her, and he removed her reproach and her grief. Every time Benjamin's name is mentioned, it reminds Yaakov that he's the son of his right hand. Every time Levi's name is mentioned, it means that Yahweh's going to draw that which someone doesn't love to me again. Yahweh uses Levi to join the children of Israel to himself. Oh, you better hear me. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. This is who he is. That's why we have to understand the purpose and the reason why has to sanctify his name. I'm not going to do this for your sake, O house of Israel. I'm not. I'm not going to do it for your sake. I'm not going to do it for your sake, house of Israel, but for the sake of my holy name, which you have been profaning in the nations where you went. What does it say? Where does it say? It says in 23. I will set my great name to be regarded as holy. Listen, Israel. Listen, house of Israel. I don't care what tribe you're from. You need to listen to this and listen well. You and I have to understand that when Yah says to be holy, what he's talking about is being set apart. Kodesh. Just like the Shabbat. It's set apart. It's different. It's special. He even uses the same word, Kodesh, to mean even a prostitute who is set apart for a certain service. You and I are set apart. Yah's talking about when I take you and I set you apart. I got to set you apart because of my set apart great name. How can you say that you are completely set apart and you are away from me? How can you declare that you've been made holy and you haven't been in my presence? How dare you say that you're washed and you're cleansed and you're not? You are saying you're cleansed and you're saying you're set apart and you're saying that you've been washed and you say that you have my spirit and yet you're in the lands of your enemies? That's what I'm talking about when I say you're profaning my name. My name means mercy. My name means compassion. You will not experience my mercy and my compassion until I take you away from your enemies. You called me your husband, but yet you and I do not sleep in the same bed. Where's your offering, Israel? Where is it? Where are your contributions? Where is it? Where is your priesthood? Where is it? Where are the people that I told you that is going to be the people that join me and you back together? Where are they? Where is your king? Where is he? Where's my altar? Where's my offerings? Where's my sanctified name? Where is it? You're telling me that it's right here in your filthy place where you live at? I will set apart my great name to be regarded as holy since it's been profaned in the nations. You profaned it among the nations. You did it by being there because you refused to do what I said, you and your ancestors. The nations will know that I am Yahweh. When? When is the nations going to know that he's Yahweh? When before their eyes, I am set apart through you to be regarded as holy. Has that happened yet? If you want to be honest, has this happened yet? No. This is the kind of teaching that nobody wants to hear. They don't want to hear this. Am I trying to crush you? Is the Holy One of Israel trying to break us down to the point where you and I don't survive it? Is he trying to break our hearts? What he's trying to do is to share with us the reason why we're in the lands of our enemies. If you and I are unaware of what the situation is, you and I cannot make the changes we need to make. Just like the Torah portion talked about, the children of Israel, the sons of Yaakov, went into Egypt because they ran out of food. Then when they got there, they had an experience. Yah caused that to happen to bring about the changes he needed in their character. You have to recognize where you are. My own testimony would tell you this. I was reading yesterday in the Holy One of Israel. I was reading and it said, you know, it's a word called to bow down. I mentioned it in our class on Thursday, and it talks about how people bow down, they put their head down, and how some people completely prostrate on the ground. And I read something that talked about this was an act of, respect. And it was an act of complete submission. It was an act of complete devotion. And when someone prostrates themselves down to the ground, what they're saying is that I'm completely submitted to your will. And I'm loyal to you to the point of even bringing harm to myself. I'm willing, I love you that much. And only thing I can think about is you. I want to do what you want me to do. I have a sense of devotion. And the Holy One of Israel hit me in my heart, in my mind, and said to me, if indeed you're devoted to me, is it because of only the things that you suffer? Is that what brought your devotion to me? Would you be as devoted to me if you couldn't walk? Are you only devoted to me because of your stomach being filled? Are you only devoted to me because of how well things are for you? My nervous system and my body has been changed over the last year. I can't even walk like I used to. I can walk around the house, but I can't walk down the street. I can't do yard work. I can't ride a bike. I can't lift weights. I can't exercise. I can't play golf. I can't do anything except for breathe and eat and go to the restroom. My devotion to Yahweh has been increased because of my inability to do what I want to do. I share that with you because I want you to question and examine your lives and ask yourself, is it my devotion to him because of what I'm suffering? Or is my devotion to him because of me just loving and being loyal to him? Not to say that Yahweh will not bring a problem upon us, because he will, in order to bring about the devotion that he's looking for. In his love, he'll take away anything in order to get our attention. He'll remove people out of your life in order to get your attention. He'll take a job away from you in order to get your attention. If there's something that's causing a distraction in your life, he will remove it in order to get your attention. Yah will bring evil on a land to get its attention. We are going to have to learn that devotion to Holy One of Israel is going to have to be something that comes from within. And the Holy One of Israel will use trouble to bring about that devotion. I wept like a baby. I want to weep right now, but he said, you wept yesterday about it. Don't spend the time weeping now. You wept about it yesterday. You cried about it. Leave it alone and understand. I will bring whatever I need to bring to get the devotion that I'm looking for. I'm willing to send you into captivity so you can understand I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I'll bring famine on you so you can start asking some questions. I'll take whatever I need to take from you so I can get it out of you. I'll put oppression on you to squeeze you and put you in a very tight position so you then can cry out to me. 23 says the nations will know that I am Yahweh, says Yahweh Elohim, when? Before their eyes, not their spiritual eyes, before their literal eyes, that I'm set apart through you as regarded as holy. And this is how I'm going to show them. I will take you, Yisrael, from among the nations, and I'm going to gather you from all the countries, and I'm going to return you to your own soil. That is my mercy. That's what's in my name. That's my compassion. I sent you to the nations because I couldn't exonerate the guilty. If you're guilty, you're guilty. Accept your guilt. Confess your guilt and admit your guilt. Then I can remove the problem that you have, because I'm willing to forgive. I forgive. I told you what I do. I forgive crimes. I forgive sins. I forgive transgressions. I forgive it. Then when I bring you back, when I return you, When I shuv you, because return means to shuv in Hebrew. SUV, or really in transliteration, shub, but it's really shuv. Shuv, to return. Return what? I want to return a captive. When a captive is taken captive, they take all their clothes off of them. Okay. So what happens is they start off in one place in their homeland. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is this: if you reverse engineer this, even in this verse, you can see it right here. The Holy One of Israel says that you are on your own soil, but here you're among the nations. So what I got to do is I got to take you from the, so you started in your soil and then you went to the nations. What I got to do now is turn you back from the nations to your soil. When you went to the nations, you went as slaves and you went as captives. That's how you went there. And you were naked. So when you become a captive, they take your clothes off. And what they take from you is they take on all your clothes, but they take your name, they take your diet, they take your Elohim. They took my name out your mouth and they gave you another name. And the name that they gave you that you think it's me, it's not. You think this name here is me. You think that's me. This is not me. I'm not God. I never call myself God. Never. That's not my name. And that's not even a word. The word for God here is G-A-D. And this is one of the sons of Israel. You pronounce his name God. Am I this guy here? No. Am I the person of fortune? No, because that's what his name means, fortune. Am I the God of fortune? No, I'm not. I told you who I am. I'm Yahweh. I told you that in Exodus chapter number 3, verse 15. That's my name forever. Don't you ever put another name in your name about mine and your mouth about me. Exodus 23 and 13 says in 13. Don't you ever, 23 and 13, don't you ever mention the name of another Elohim coming from your lips. But we have done that, haven't we? So guess what? You're profaned. The moment you said JC that out your mouth, you've been made unclean. And he's going to show it to us. So I'm going to take you from among the nations where you've been, and I'm going to gather you and I'm going to return you to your own soil. And then what? Well, after I gather you, then, future tense, I will, future tense, sprinkle clean water on you. Well, what kind of water is that? Spiritual water? No, literally, folks, this is my yim. This is the water that he talks about that he asked the children of Israel when anytime they went into service before the Holy One of Israel, they would have to what? They'd have to wash themselves and purify themselves. It's literal water that Yah would burn the ashes of a red heifer in chapter number 19, I believe, of Leviticus, and take that ashes and put it inside the water, and then it would be water purification. But they don't want you to believe that. They would think, no, it got to be spiritual. In order for it to be effective, it has to be spiritual. The abstract, you can't put your finger on it. Instead of you saying, well, I just don't understand why you would kill an heifer and take its ashes and put it in the water, mix it up and make me clean. How does that work? That's the way I said to do it. If you had Zazarah, they have to be washed with that water. Yes. If I told you not to touch a pork, a pig because it's unclean, don't touch it. Does that make you unclean? Yes. Touching it makes you unclean. Well, why? That doesn't make sense because you don't understand Yahweh's ways. It's not about what we think. It's about what he said. That's right. It's always going to be I am. I will take you. I will sprinkle you with clean water and you will be clean. I will cleanse you from all your uncleanness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in it. I will take the stony heart out of your flesh and I will put my spirit inside you and cause you to live by my laws and respect my rulings and obey them. How many times does he have to say it? Is this the truth? Is all this the truth? Is this him saying it or is this Paul saying it? Who's saying this? Is Ezekiel saying this? No. Yah has already told you and I what it is. So until then, okay, and it goes to our Torah portion, which is called Miketz. And that means at the end. When you and I come to this point of being brought to our soil, then that's when we're at our end. And Yahweh will just sprinkle clean water on us, and then we will be clean. I will cleanse you. So your cleansedness and your cleanness comes when you go back to the soil. I will give you a new heart. That new heart that Yahweh was talking about is I'm going to give you a new mind. I'm going to put a new mind inside of you. I got to get rid of the mind that has everything that's polluted. TikTok, Facebook, everything. I got to get rid of it. Because you guys can't be those type of people. You can't come in here with your thoughts. So the only reason why you're going to get a new mind is because you need one. This is mind. This is mind. Okay. And this spirit right here, this is spirit. This is a new you. You're going to get a new you completely. And I will, okay, future tense, take the stony heart out of your flesh, that mind that can only receive so much information before it starts making excuses. Okay. I got to take it out of you. I will put my spirit, my ruach inside of you and cause you to live by my laws. One guy that I was talking to who claimed to be King David, by the way, he didn't want to go here and read this because it would destroy everything he's talking about. Because they say they have a spirit. You don't have a spirit. Because then hasn't happened. The gathering hasn't happened. You will live in the land that I gave your ancestors. You see that? You, individual, okay? And I, okay, you will be my people and I will be your Elohim. I will be your power. The nations are going to see this. And I will save you from what? Some of it? No, all of it. I'm going to save you from all your uncleannesses, your uncleansiness. I will summon the grain, which brings us into our Torah portion. I'm going to call for the grain and I'm going to increase it where? In the land. And I'm not going to send famine against you. I'm not. I want you to remember this. This is what I want you to remember. When you bring back to your land, I'm going to do something. I'm going to give you grain. It's physical, people. And I'm going to increase your grain physically, people. And famine is physical. You need food to survive. Therefore, I got to give you food in your land. Because I'm talking about your soil. Because your soil right now is resting because I put you out so it could rest. That's Leviticus 26, verse 40. I put you out so the land can have its rest. I will multiply. Now, you want your blessing? Here's your blessing. Your blessing is multiplication. Your blessing is increasing the fruit of the land. Your blessing is increasing the yield of the fruit from the trees. And I'm going to increase, which is blessing, the production of the fields. So you'll never suffer reproach again of famine among the nations. Our people are scattered all throughout the whole entire world. So because you and I are not starving doesn't mean our brothers and sisters are not hungry. I want you to understand that. I want you to get out of your localized thinking and think global. Because that's where our brothers and sisters are. Our family is scattered all over the place. So you may have food in your stomach today, but a lot of our brothers and sisters don't have food in their stomach. Right now, it's been known that they say probably over 500,000 people up today, and it's probably more, are starving today. They're starving. They're suffering from famine. That's what they're doing. And the famine is in so many different countries right now. It's all over the place. And it's done either by politics, or it's done by drought, or it's done by, not having any water. It's done by several other factors. But ultimately, the only reason why it could happen is because the Holy One of Israel has done so. And he does it for a reason. But I brought you here to show you that you and I cannot go around and tell people that you and I are clean. Not from Yahweh's perspective, you're not. From your perspective, keep thinking you are. That's great, but it's not true. Okay? Then you will remember your evil ways. Then, again, another future, you will remember your evil ways and your actions, that they were not good. When you look at yourselves, you will loathe, and meaning hate yourselves and detest yourselves, because of the guilt in your disgusting practices. Again, understand, says Yahweh Elohim, that I am not doing this for your sake. Instead, you need to be ashamed and dismayed for your ways, O house of Israel. You see? Did he tell you to celebrate? How detrimental is this for him to tell us that we should loathe ourselves? When that time comes, we're going to loathe ourselves. Huh? See, no one wants to talk. This is why I probably get maybe 100 views on my videos and everyone else is getting thousands, because they don't want to deal with this. Because this is bringing us, this is what you call putting us in check. Okay. The Holy One of Israel is interested in bringing us to a place of getting understanding so we can change our behavior and our conduct. Okay. That's what he's talking about. Joseph had, names again are Hebraically mean things. Joseph had a son, and his first son, while before they went into their famine, and they had a great abundant time, was called Manasseh. Okay. Manasseh means, and this is what his name means. Joseph called the name of his firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. Okay. And literally in some translations, it talks about how when he talks about my toil, he's talking about his trouble. I wish I had a better, let me see. Give me a better color so you can really see it. Trouble. You're going to have trouble in your family. He says his father's house, that right there is family. You're going to have trouble in your family. There's always going to be trouble in our families. There's always going to be this idea of you losing and people hating you, basically to put distance, because that's what hatred is, between you and them because of what you say. That's hate. You're going to always experience this. This is part of what's going on in our family. And it's not just in your localized family, it's all throughout the whole entire house of Israel. You see how many different camps they got out here? Those are our brothers and sisters. They're a part of our family. I talk to them. I have respect for them. But I also, too, I let loose in a very respectful way. I don't pull any punches. I challenge them. And I think it's okay for us to challenge. Guy asked me, well, you want challenge? What do you want to challenge? He took it the wrong way. I said, I'm challenging your thought. I'm challenging what you think. Well, you don't believe the New Testament? I said, it's not about believing anything. It's about knowing. That's what it's about. It's not believing anything. It's about knowing. Because knowledge has to do with understanding and wisdom. And those things, knowledge has to do with measurement. Okay, that's knowledge. Understanding has to do with what you call, from the Hebrew word, to call to build. And wisdom, I could give you the Hebrew names, but I just want to tell you, wisdom means asking questions. So, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Knowledge is measurement. I'm going to find out, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to do some visual observations with my eyes, I'm going to do measurement, just like Joseph did. He understood it. Yah gave him knowledge. Yah gave him wisdom. He's able to inquire, to ask questions. He wouldn't have got involved if he was timid and irresponsible while he was in prison. When these guys had their dream, he would have never asked, well, what would you have? What's going on? He inquired. Wisdom. Wisdom has to ask questions. Once you get the measurement on something, because you asked the question, after you get the information, then you can start to build. You can build your family. You can build a business. You can build a relationship. That's what you and I are called to do. We need wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Knowledge has to do with your eyes. Building, again, is your mind, because it has to do with what? It has to do, building has to do with the idea of putting things together. It has to do with the idea of discernment, to think. Inquiry has to do with the brain. You understand? So you and I have to ask questions. When you're doing your Torah portion, don't be around just, oh, it's a baker, it's a cupbearer, and it's Pharaoh and it's Joseph and it's his brothers, and that's it. Think deeper. You get into the language, you'll be able to say, well, wait a minute. This word means this, and I saw this word 7 times. So what does it mean? Challenge yourselves, because you will have toil. That's why he named this boy this. And this was even through when he had a good season. That's why he named him. He said, he made me forget my soil, my toil. He made me forget my struggles with my family. Manasseh it's a beautiful name. It has meaning, it has purpose. So every time he called upon him, he would think about Yah taking away his what? His trouble and his sorrow. The next son is called Ephraim. Ephraim. Okay. He named this boy this because he said the name of the second son he called Kara. He called him because Elohim has caused me to be fruitful. That's what his name means. His name means fruitful. And that was during the time before the famine. Remember, Yah says, when you get back to your land, I'm going to make sure that you never suffer the reproach of famine again. Okay? That means he's going to make you fruitful. He's going to make your trees fruitful. And it's known that Ephraim, when they went into the land to take possession of the land, Ephraim, where he stayed, was very a fruitful place. So your name goes to the places, also to the portions of the land where you can be that. Asher, his name means blessed. I keep giving you guys all kind of names, but his name means to be blessed. And blessed in here was he had a lot of olive oil. He had more olive oil in his part of the land than any other part of the land. And he would anoint himself with that oil and sell the oil to his brothers. That's why he was called blessed, because he had olive oil. Olive oil is used for making your face shine. Olive oil is to be able to keep your body from, suffering from any type of dryness. It was used medicinally. It was used for food. It was used for cooking. It was used for anointing. It was used for healing. It was used in the temple. It was used. And when the priest went to go get that oil, they got it from Asher. Do you understand me? So what I'm telling you is everything that's connected with our family has purpose and meaning and character. If you claim that you're from Yehuda, you better have some praise in your mouth. And you better be a person who's willing to cry out to the Holy One of Israel, more so than anyone else on the face of the earth, because that's what your name means. I'm from the tribe of Judah. You better be about praise. You better be about prayer, because praise is prayer. Tearful, joy, song. Any song you sing, it better be for the Holy One of Israel. Why? Because he's worthy of all of our praise. So that's what Ephraim's name means. That's in 41. That's part of our Torah portion. This word here is called Shavar. Shavar. What is Shavar? Well, you see the picture. I use pictures because pictures impact you and makes you understand things. And what he saw was, in Pharaoh's dream, he saw Shavar. Okay? He saw this. He saw Shavar. He saw what they would call Shavar. And what is Shavar? Shavar is grain. It has both the meaning of a noun and a verb. Because in Hebrew, things can be both a noun and it can also be a verb. Okay? So Shavar. So you might see the same word in the text that says Shavar, depending on if it could be a noun, the grain itself that you just saw a picture of, or it can also mean to buy grain, because that's what they dealt with. Okay? They dealt with grain. That was one of their staples. Praise be to the Holy One. The root of Shavar, which you saw, okay, which I'm going to go back here again so you can see it, okay, is to break or to fracture. To crush in pieces. So what they would do is they would take the grain, okay, and they would bring it, and they would bring a parar, okay, a parar, or is it wakar or wakar? No, it's parar. They would bring a parar, which is an ox, or excuse me, an ox or a cow, okay, and they would have them use their feet to crush and to break the grain, to fracture it, okay, in pieces. This is why when Pharaoh started telling Joseph the dream, the first part of the dream was he saw 7 cows. And then he had said 7 cows that were good, and he had another 7 cows that were ill. Then he had 7, he had 1 stock with 7 heads of grain. Okay. Then he saw 7 that were blighted. They were, they were blighted. They were ruined. Okay. So he saw these and he was able to say, okay, Yahweh gives the interpretation. So the one was fat and the other one was ill. The ill ate the fat ones. And then here the blight was blighted, and this was fat. This was fat, grainy. And then this ate this one. So he understood what it meant, because Yosef name means to increase and to add and to remove. So what he was doing is he was deciphering, which the Holy One of Israel gave him understanding, because Joseph was what? He was a shepherd, like his brothers. Joseph understood agriculture. He understood harvest time. And this is the reason why the Holy One of Israel chose this to give to Pharaoh as a dream, because he put Joseph in there in position. Okay. Joseph, as you can see, Joseph was increased in a lot of ways. Every time he went to somebody's house, it was good. And then he actually got removed from those houses for the same thing, because of a garment, because he was beautiful, he was handsome. He had this way about him. So there's a whole bunch of character traits that he had about his name. These both could be positive and they could be negative. Okay. But sometimes the negative can actually work as a positive. If Joseph wasn't removed from his family, then he wouldn't have been able to save his family. Yah has removed you and I from our families for a reason. Yah loves Israel. Yah loves his people. If you and I were wicked and have been wicked and have done that which is wrong, and Yah has spoken to you and I and said, turn from your ways. Did Yah show love and concern for us? Yes, he did. He spoke to us while we're in exile. That's love and that's compassion. Yah was speaking to this family, but he chooses somebody out of that family for his purpose. You have been selected from your family for a reason and a purpose. And the bottom line is, if you take from this about this prophecy of these cows and this grain and all this, you can say, oh, well, you're giving me some basic agricultural terms. No, I'm telling you what Yah's intention is. Yah's intention is to break. It is to fracture. It is to crush in pieces. Oh, really? Yeah, Jeremiah says it. It says it right there. I need you to go and do this. Everything that's built up, I need you to tear it down. If Israel's in a state of idolatry, they need to be broken and crushed and torn down. Your pillars have to be torn down. Your high standing stones have to be fractured and put into dust and powder. And once those things are crushed and destroyed, you then too will have to be destroyed along with it. And what I'm talking about being destroyed is your mindset. Because the mindset of the nations, this is why Yah's going to destroy the nations. It's because the mindset of the nations is to go against what Yahweh says. And if you and I follow what they say, which we have because we've been here, Yah says, I have to destroy and crush your mindset. You think that it's okay to hang around people that hate me. You think it's approved by me that I love all peoples, and I never told you that. The New Testament told you that. That's what the God of the New Testament said. You think that I'm about, helping other people except for Israel. and all those who are joined to Israel. Okay. The families of the earth who decide that they want to join with Israel can. Yah gives them a right to do so. They got to join in with the covenant. But his intention is to break Israel down. I got to shatter your brain into pieces so I can build you back up. There's no way that you and I are going to be able to come back to him without being broken. Yah will smash us. Do you understand? Not to the point of completely destroying us, but he will discipline us according to the measure that we need. He said, look, I'm going to destroy the nations, but I'm not going to fully destroy you. And I believe I should show you that because it would be only the right thing to do. So you won't go and say that Dalit said that. You would actually say, thus saith Yahweh. I believe it's in Jeremiah, and it's in chapter number 30. Jeremiah chapter number 30. It's talking about a day of judgment and that day of salvation. All I'm going to do is read part of it. Okay? That's all I'm going to do. It's a day of salvation. Only thing I'm going to tell you is this, how dreadful that day will be. There has never been one like it. What? This day. It's a time. It's a day, a time of trouble for Yaakov. But out of it, he will be what? He will be delivered. Not saved from your sins. I'm going to deliver you. Because on that day, that's in parentheses, quotations, excuse me, it says Yahweh Zavaoth, meaning Yahweh's army, I will break his yoke from off your neck, and I will snap your chains. So there's a yoke on our neck, and there's chains that we're connected to, because this day hasn't happened yet. So in our minds, we've been told that we're free. And in Yahweh's perspective, he says there's a yoke on your neck. In Yahweh's perspective, he says you have chains on. So in our mind, we're free, but in Yah's mind, you and I are captives. We're not free. We're slaves. And we're servants of other tyrants. You understand? So you and I are not free. If we were free, then this means that this doesn't exist. Yah says foreigners, because that's the him who I need to snap the chains off. The foreigners will no longer enslave him. That's what a slave gets, is chains and a yoke. So if a yoke is on your neck, are you standing upright before the Holy One of Israel, or do you want to be what you would call, I think I'm upright? Oh, Yahweh's way, you're not upright right now because you got a yoke on your neck. You have a burden on your neck. The burden he mentioned in Ezekiel chapter number 36 said that I'm going to take away the reproach and the things that have embarrassed you, which is famine. I'm going to take in your hunger. Well, I'm not famine. Your brothers and sisters are, so you're part of the family. You're participating. Instead, in verse 9, right? They will serve. Oh, really? I thought you said we're serving him. No, you got to make up your mind. That's what this is, with the teaching I've been teaching. You got to make up your mind right now if you want to go serve Yahweh. And the kind of servant he's looking for is a wholehearted servant. So right now, instead, they will serve Yahweh. Who? Yaakov. When? And Yahweh and their Elohim. And who? Dalit, their king. That's who they're going to serve. When I break the yoke off your neck, when I snap your chains, when you're no longer serving foreigners, then after you finish me getting rid of them, then you could come and serve me, and you could serve Dalit, your king, whom I will raise up for them. Not resurrection. This is not, listen, folks, this is physical. You understand? I'm going to raise up for them who? Dalit. The name of your king, his name is Dalit. The Dalit, the Wa, and the Dalit. This guy is the one who joins the houses together, both houses of Israel, whom I will raise up for them. Kum. Kum means to raise, not resurrect, to raise. Raise them from what? Because Dalit is with the children of Israel. He's part of, he said, I'm going to raise up for them from where? Because he's with them. Dalit is in the same place. He's in the same land of these people. He's somewhere in these lands. And Yah says, I'm going to raise up whom I will raise up for them. Why? From where? From them, for them, and from them. So don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant. See, because now you're going to go into service. And Yahweh says, don't be alarmed, Israel, for I will return you. I will return. We know that word return, according to the Hebrew, is, again, shuv, S-H-U-V, but it's pronounced shuv. And that means to turn you from your captivity. I'm going to return you from far away. From where? The nations. You, your offspring, from their countries of exile. Question, has that happened yet? No. Yaakov will again be what? Will be quiet and will be at rest. That's when you know that you've been delivered. That's when you know that things are working well for you. Okay? No one will make them afraid. So if someone's telling you that you're saved and you're delivered, they're lying to you. Okay? Listen to what Yahweh says. For I am with you to deliver you. I'm going to save you. Just like I told you in Exodus. Just like I told you in Jeremiah. Just like I told you in Ezekiel. I'm telling you the same thing, says Yahweh. I will finish off all the nations where I have scattered you. However, you, who? Israel, Yaakov, okay, you're in your offspring, you, I will not finish off, but will discipline you only as you deserve. I will not completely destroy you. I'm going to destroy, but I'm not going to completely destroy you. I'm going to finish these people off. Okay. I'm not going to finish you off, but the nations, I'm going to finish them off. The ones that I have in mind who have done you wrong, the ones who the foreigners have mistreated you, I got something for them. So I don't need you to be afraid. I don't need you to be upset about what I'm going to do because I have to do it. Like I told you in Ezekiel, I'm going to do it before their very eyes. So don't be afraid because that's the day of salvation. That's when I'm going to save you because there's that day. It's not a 7-year period. It's a day. So I'm going to break, I'm going to fracture, and I'm going to crush into pieces. What? The bar. Bar is corn or wheat because that means grain. Okay. And this is where you get your word beer from. Okay. So you got the bet, which is right here. And you got the resh, which is right here. You get your word barley from. I should change this color because I don't know why I keep writing in this color. It's not a good color. Beer. First letters of bet. 2 E's and an R. Bet. A B and an R. A resh. Okay, so there's your R and there's this. This is where they get it because that's where you make beer from corn and wheat and barley. Got barley. B-A-R-E. Barley. I think you spell like that. No. I think it's L-E-Y. Okay. There's a bet and there's a resh. That's where you get your word barley. From what? From bar in Hebrew. So you can see that they're using Hebrew letters to come up with their words as well. Okay. So we have our origins in that. Very powerful. So these are the heads of grain. The heads of grain were not only used for food, but they were also used to, the stalk of the grain was used to make soap. So they would take this part of it and use it for food. And the food would feed the oxen, the sheep, the goats, the herds, okay, and men, okay, and which is family, and women and children, Okay. And so in the Hebrew culture, everything is used, nothing is thrown away. Literally. I mean, after they take the animal, they take the fat and make glue out of it. They take the skins and use it for coverings, for tent coverings. Okay. So, but this is also too where you get your word covenant from, which they call a borith. There's the bet and there's the resh. So covenant has to do with food. This is why Yah says, I'm going to give you a land, because the word covenant is called borith, and borith has to do with barley. It has to do with food. This is what Yah has promised to Israel, is a land. He didn't promise them a land just so you could be just safe. I promised you somewhere you can always have food to eat, because if you are able to eat, you're able to continue your family. You need food for the what? For the stomach. And the stomach is what they would call your, in Hebrew, kai, meaning your life. That's your life. That's your life. Your kai is your life. Your stomach is your life. When I talk about you living and living a long time, I say I'll give you a long life because I'm going to continue to feed you. I'm feeding you with good food. That's why I tell you that when you get out of the land and the nations, you will no longer experience famine, because famine is where you have no food. So if you guys think that you're going back to heaven and you think you're going back to a place where it's all spiritual, you're wrong. You're going back to a place where you have to start what? Farming. This is different than the NBA. The NBA is not going to be part of this. LeBron James is no longer, if he decides that, and hopefully he can make up his mind before the end, because Yah's not letting any rebel go into the land. And there's other people who's just as strong as LeBron and the rest of them. Because that's why Yah says, I'm going to have you increase your numbers. You asked me to increase your numbers because there's not going to be a lot of people. So I'm going to bring you back to your land. And when you get there, I'm going to have to increase your numbers, because if I don't increase your numbers, you guys will not be able to take care of all the food. Okay. The nations are going to come to you looking for you to teach them how to farm. That's why he's always using scripture that says, take your farming instruments and your weapons of warfare and turn them into farming instruments. Plowing, because that's the life that you're going to. You're not going back to Mercedes-Benz and BMWs and none of that. You're going home to learn how to farm, and you're going to learn agriculture. Okay. You're going to learn about seeds. You're going to learn how to use your hands and your legs and your feet. You're going to be healthy. You're not going to sit around and watch TV. You're not going to be an elderly person or a young person that now you've been watching TV all your life, and now you don't know how to walk and you don't know how to exercise. None of that's going to happen. You're going to be a very healthy people. You're going to eat really well. Okay. You're going to have lots of babies. There's going to be lots of marriages. There's going to be lots of celebrations and parties, but there's also going to be a lot of work. You're going to work because I created you to do work, and I created you to do work for 6 days. And on the 7th is the Shabbat. Okay. And new moon is the Shabbat, as it is today. You understand? So the life that you and I are looking forward to is a life of going back and fulfilling the destiny and the responsibility of what we call being human. Your stomach is not there for you just to have a stomach so you can have abs and work out in the gym and drink smoothies. Your job when you get back to the land is to be an agriculturalist. And not only to you, but Yah is going to use the field and he's going to use the land to teach us about life. He's going to teach us about life through our herds and our flocks, because you have to take care of that life. He's not going to teach us how to use our hands to fight with people. We're not going to use our hands and our minds for that. We're going to be the most distinguished people on the face of this earth. We're going to be so famous. And I'll show that to you. The Holy One of Israel says, your crops are going to be famous. You're going to be a famous people. And you're going to be famous because of your wine. And you're going to be famous because of everything I gave you. Okay, that's bar. That's grain. Okay, that's what you're going to do. It means, and also too, like I told you, bar means to cleanse and purify. So in the Hebrew language, you have to understand what these things mean. They use the stalk of the grain to cleanse themselves and to purify with what they call soap. Okay, what they call potash. They would take the stalks of the bar and they would burn it with fire, and then they would use that and make an ash and put it and use it in water and make it like a paste out of it and use it for soap and to purify themselves. So if this is part of the root for grain, it's also part of what? Covenant. That's part of the covenant. So part of our covenant means we need to be a clean people. Not only a fed people, but a people of purification. That's why Yah says, when you bring you back to your land, that's when I'm going to make you clean. There's different processes. Even the priests had to go through a process. Women have to go through a purification process. Men had to go through a purification process because that's what Yah created us to be. And guess what? There's no apology for that. Yah's not asking about that. He's not asking for us to do anything. Okay, he's not asking for your opinion. He's not asking for mine. If he says that this is the way my people are going to be cleansed, then that's the way my people are going to be cleansed, period. Okay, and listen, you guys hear me all the time, and you say this guy's a little rough around the edges. He's rough. I'm going to tell you something. I'm rough around the edges because that's what Yah calls me to be. I have to be rough around the edges because when Yah tells us to teach the Torah, he tells us to teach it in a way that's rough around the edges. He doesn't allow us not to teach rough around the edges. I have to be that way. Do you understand? So, because that's what we're called to. The Holy One of Israel has called us to say that you have to teach in a very forceful way. That's my passion. Okay. In closing, I want to talk about 4 dreadful judgments. I told you earlier that the Holy One of Israel is in charge of everything, whether it's good or whether it's evil. He says, I do both. I do all things. I think that's in Isaiah chapter number 45. Okay. But Ezekiel number 14, verse number 21 tells you something about Yah's 4 dreadful judgments. Okay. These judgments are meaning he's rulings. That's what judgment means. It means Yahweh's rulings that he's decided. And these are things that can never be discussed, talked about, and make you feel like you got any options. 21 says, for here's what Yahweh says. Yahweh Elohim. Even if I inflict my 4 dreadful judgments on Yerushalayim, and here they are. Yah has 4 of them. Number 1 is the sword. Number 2 is the famine. Number 3 is wild animals. And number 4 is plague. Sword is used to kill you. The famine is used to kill you. The wild animals is to kill you. And the plagues are to kill you. That's what I'm here to do. This is what my 4 dreadful, because they're dreadful. So when you think about what Joseph and his family went through at that time, it was a famine. And because they tell us that the people of Israel was able to get food, it was not fortune. It was by Yah's provision in his hand. They were going to die. To be killed is to die and not to exist from your stomach. That's what a famine does. It kills the stomach. Okay. When they put the sword in you, they're draining your blood. They're taking your life. The wild animals are there to eat you. That's why they're there, to eat you. Yah sent animals to eat Israel. Eat them. Take your kids. This is what, was it not what Yaakov said, that his sons had lied to him and said that a wild animal had ate Joseph? Yeah. So that's what they thought. That's what they told their father. He got ate up by a wild animal. So then in his mind, Yaakov knew that Yahweh, that was a dreadful judgment. So can you see that mental anguish that his children caused on their father because of their behavior? What is Yah telling us? Or you think the Yah is just talking about the father and his sons and how they cause mental anguish? And he kept saying all this stuff that you guys keep doing. Simeon is in prison now. Now you want to take Benjamin? You've already got rid of my other son. My daughter's been raped. My wife has been slept with my son. My wife has died. I got the people of Shechem chasing me, trying to kill me because of your behavior. Uncle Laban came after me, wanted to kill me, wanted to take everything away from me, never pay me. My brother wants to kill me. You better understand that Yah is talking to us. And he's telling us that you and I are going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble. Plagues is part of it. And the purpose is to only do this: eliminate its humans and its animals. That's what judgment is for. And these four, Yah has four of them. You can read more about it. Okay. Well, I have a little time to go through it right now. I want to share with you that he's the one who does it. The word famine, because this is our Torah portion. Ra'av. Ra'av. Okay. Ra'av. Ra'av. They got a word in here. It's interesting. The first part of this word, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm not going to cheat you out of it. And look at the picture. Why did I put this picture? Because look at all that was included. Look at the ground. Look at it. Nothing can grow. This is what Yah says. This is like his second one. Like, this is number 2. I'm going to do this to the land. The land, in terms of its soil, is indicative of one's mind, because that's where something grows. Things grow in the mind. Thoughts. You understand? So the soil, okay, of a human being is your mind. So when Yah talks about giving you the Torah, because the Torah is rain, Yah says, I want to put the Torah down on the ground. I should have used a different color to make it more applicable, because you guys are used to different colors. If I told you that I gave you the Torah, I need you to put the Torah down on your brain so you can bring forth fruit. And the Torah goes in a direction. The rain is just not arbitrary. Rain just doesn't fall like this and then over here it's coming down this way. It doesn't do that. The Torah means in a direction. The Torah means to point an arrow, to point, and means instructions that point in a certain direction. So if the rain is going to fall, Yah will send it in its direction it needs to go and fall to a certain area. He'll make it rain on one place and not make it rain on a whole nother place. That's what he told him. You guys have been looking for water. I'll have rain come down in the areas that I wanted to have at this place. And then it's a whole other part of the land right here. The next to you won't get no water. If you don't do what Yahweh says, then there's no rain. When there's no rain, there's famine. When there's famine, there's no growth. When there's famine, there's misery. When there's famine, there's anguish. And so if I'm gonna languish the land, I'm gonna give you anguish. That's where languish comes from, anguish. They're one and the same. One is for mental. They're both for mental, but one is physical for the land, languish the land, and anguish is your brain. Okay? Ra'av means hunger. I'm gonna cause you to go hungry. That's what I'm gonna do. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is a picture of people who don't have any food. When you don't have any food and you're starving, okay, because that's what you're doing, I want you to think about this for a second. Take this picture in. This is a woman, by the way. This is a woman. And this is her child. This is real. This is a woman right here. This is a man right here. Here's another man, okay? I want you to take a look at this picture for a minute. And I want you to know who did it. Yahweh's done it. This is what Yahweh will do. Yahweh will do this. Yahweh will do this. You don't think so? You don't think Yahweh would do this? That's because you don't know your Elohim. If you knew your Elohim, you would know that he will do this. If you knew your Elohim, then you would know that I will starve you to death. Well, that's not love. No. It's called judgment. You're right. It's not love. It's called judgment. Okay. And Yah doesn't bring this on people for no reason. He brings this on for a reason and a purpose. I want to show you your Elohim. I want to show you the one that nobody else wants to show you. The one that you and I transgressed against. The one our ancestors used to take our children that he gave to us and burn them up and slaughter them and make them scream. I want you to remember that it was our ancestors that were taking and enslaving their own brothers and sisters and selling them to strangers before they got sold. I want you to understand that it was our people and our ancestors that were taking and sleeping with their sons' wives and having sexual intercourse with their mothers and sisters and brothers. I want you to understand that these are the same people that caused to break the Shabbat. It's deeper than what you have been told. That's what same word for famine. That's the reality that you and I live in, that no one wants to tell you because they want to keep it nice and fluffy. It's real. It's not only just for people of color. It's all over. Whoever Yahweh decides that this is the judgment for them, they're going to get it. Ethiopia is one of the countries in which is on the list today that are suffering right now from famine. While you and I have our wonderful lamb dinners and Shabbat meals, there are people suffering. The judgment of Yahweh is upon some of these countries. But in the case of our Torah portion, it was upon all the earth. And only Egypt had enough food for survival, and he did it for the sake of the house of Israel. He did it for the sake of Yaakov. He did it for the family that he loves. Yah could have wiped everybody out, but he sent a Hebrew boy and used his life. And Yah's asking us that if you're willing, do you understand? You could try to get away from me. You could try to circumvent my plan for you, but you can't because I love you. And if you're destined to go to a prison, you will. If you're destined to the sword, you're going to the sword. If you're destined to the plague, you're going to a plague. If I destine you to go to famine, you're going to famine. If I destine you to die, you're going to die. But the same one who can destine you to live and die in the sword is the same one who can destine you to life. I choose who lives and I choose who dies. I am Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. I'm the one who maketh alive and I'm the one who killeth, and no one can deliver out of my hand. That's what he says in Deuteronomy chapter number 32. This is the reality that nobody wants to talk about. They would rather talk about how often they can sing these wonderful love songs about salvation of Yeshua. They want to get together and dance around in circles instead of following the Torah and getting down on their face and telling the Holy One of Israel that they're sorry. I don't hear anybody admitting that they've done anything against him. He does this to bring it to our attention. He's not doing this for fun. He's doing this to cause the people to make a decision and to change their thinking. Listen, the number one way to get somebody's attention is through their stomach. Yah has used the narration in the book of Genesis to say that he told them, don't eat of this tree. He uses your stomach to find out who you are. Do you understand? That's why the diet is prescribed, which you can and cannot eat, because I need to test you to find out whether or not you're going to do what I said. Does this look like a game? Does this look like these people are not suffering and they're in anguish and they have great sorrow? Ra'av. The first two letters of this is a resh and an ayin, the head and the eye, meaning to see. But also, too, its root is in what they call to be evil. Ra is the word for evil. It's evil. Look at this again. Evil. Ra, bad, dysfunctional. Do you think this person right here that is starving to death, do you think he's functional right now? Do you think he's healthy and vibrant and he can achieve anything? Yah destroys the body in order to get to the mind. He sent us here to destroy the body and to take away our strength to get to the mind. Man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of Yahweh's mouth. This is the destiny for anybody that decides that they want to go against Yahweh. This is why he has chosen this as one of his judgments. I'm going to get your attention. I'm going to cause you to start thinking. And boy, you're going to have time to think. You're going to have time to think. Do you know that in famine, this causes more mental, you're so mentally gone. It's so, the mental anxiety is beyond comprehension. It's beyond comprehension. The fat of the body is absorbed, and then the brain, listen to this, the brain is using all the fat in the body to survive, to even cause respiration and breath. That's all you have left is that, and it uses your muscles, and it converts the muscles, the fat, the organs, and everything to be used for fuel so you can breathe. And you can live quite a bit like this for a long time. This is what Israel did not have to face because of the mercy and the compassion of the loving one of Israel. This is what the Egyptians and the other people around those surrounding lands did not have to face. Some of them did. But it's called Yah's mercy that allowed us to not have to be like this. I have a comment. I want to see what it is. Yes. Thank you, Jeannie. South of Madagascar, southern Sudan, Uganda are having famine as we speak. Yes, I read that today. Yemen, all of them out of control, starving to death, hungry. Everybody, right? It's real. So if Yah does this to them, he can do it to whoever he chooses to do it to. And what I'm saying to you is, now you can begin to understand that Yahweh says, I'll have mercy on those who I'll have mercy, and I have compassion on those whom I have compassion. And if you are part of the house of Yisrael, you have what they will call an opportunity to receive mercy because Yah promised it. You understand? But he's also brought this upon us. You mess around with him, this is what you're getting. You think they're being spiritual right now? They probably were before this. They probably had idols. They were probably calling out to somebody and see if their God would save them. How about the God of Ethiopia right now? I wonder if that God is listening. They're a big time Christian group. So where's JC at there? Where's he at? It's not available. I'm going to break down this word for you to show you the significance of the Hebrew language. Okay. The bet, of course, is this letter B right here. It usually has a little dot in it, and it means a B sound, as in B, bet. It means inside. That's what it means. Inside of what? Inside of a tent, because that's what a bet is. It's a tent. Inside of the tent. It means inside. That's the function of it. Okay, you come to my Hebrew class, I have one today. Okay. Bet. right? So look, there it is. Sorry. The resh, the ayin, and the bet. So this first part of the word here means evil and trouble and sorrow. Ra, R-A, Ra. Okay. But you put that bet on there, that B, Rav, okay, it means trouble and sorrow inside. So right now, the inside trouble is in the body and it's in the mind. So Yah will bring this upon you. That's a guarantee. And it's proven. So when we look at this word hunger, understand that it is the evil and the wickedness and the dysfunction inside. The reason why Yah uses it is because that's what causes famine is what's inside of a person. Yah doesn't bring famine on people for no reason. It's a judgment, okay? It's because of the evil that's inside of us, and it's the sorrow that's inside of us. That Yah says, I'm going to cause this evil to come upon you, and you're going to feel sorrow. And this is part of the Deuteronomy chapter number 28 curses. He said you're going to have famine. We read that in Exodus chapter number 36, or excuse me, Ezekiel 36. But you guys, you're no longer going to suffer this. I have to bring this out because right now you have sorrow. And if one part of the house of Israel is having sorrow, you can't claim that you're glorious and filled with the Holy Ghost and you're doing well, and the rest of Israel's in evil and sorrow, and you're not. It's talking about the family. And if you put any distance between you and those who are suffering, you hate them. That's what the bottom line is. Take it or leave it. That's what it is, because that's what hate is. So if you want to be and continue on the attitude of our family of being, putting distance between you and your brother, like children of Jacob did to Joseph, that's what it is. That's what your people in your family are doing. Okay. If you hate them, you'll put distance. So you said, well, I'm blessed, but they're cursed. So I have nothing to do with that. You hate your brother. Okay. He also called him a spy. Ragal has to do with the what you would call the foot, right? It's the foot, just another little Hebrew word. Is this what he was calling them? He said to his brothers that when they got there, he said, you guys are spies. You guys have come here on foot to search out what's going on, right? To search what's going on with me. You're under false pretenses. And what he was trying to achieve with them was, I want to see whether or not these people are really honest, if their behavior has changed. I want to see if they've changed. So I'm going to put them up through a whole bunch of different tests to find out whether or not they changed or not. But here, Amos 8 says this, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, Elohim, that I will send a famine on the land. Not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but the hearing of the words of Yahweh. Okay? So famine is not only that which has to do with the land and it has to do with bread, but it also has to do with the words of Yahweh. Now, when a person does not hear and does not receive, okay, the words of Yahweh, is as if they're in a famine. So why is he saying this? He's saying that when you and I do not have his words, and his words are life and his words are bread, okay, when we don't listen to his words, what he's saying, when he looks at those people, they're looking like this to him. This is his people from his viewpoint. This is what he sees spiritually. Their soul, not only their physical body. The physical is for us to see. Okay, that's why it's for us to see. It's for us to use. It's for us to understand. When Yah says that he's sending a famine of his words, and what he's talking about is in here. I'm going to get into this part. This is where I'm really focused on. That's what I want. Because this controls all this. If this is right, all this will be right. If you change your thinking, you got good thoughts, and you're doing what I told you, all things are going to work out good for you. I'll bless you. Because it's how you think. You got to start thinking. And again, this is part of our teaching here at Absolute Knowledge. You need to start thinking. And that cause means to use some intellect. That means that you're going to have to read. That means that you're going to have to study. That means that you're going to have to meditate. That means that you're going to have to pray. That means that you're going to have to look for some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That means that what's part of this is the Hebrew language. Period. That's what it is. Because I can't have you thinking like a Western mindset. I need to put back your Hebraic culture back in you, and the Hebraic understanding and the Hebraic mind, because the Hebraic mind is different than the Western mind. The mind of the nations is completely different. So what Yah is saying is, if I did not give you my words, to me, you look like these people. This is what what we would call, this is your situation as a people. This is your situation. You may not see it. You might be, healthy. You go into the gym every day. They got these holidays coming up, people dressing up in their wonderful clothes and sweaters, and women doing their hair and everything. They don't see themselves like this. They're on Facebook and YouTube with their breasts out and their behinds out, showing their bodies. And the men are doing exactly the same thing. But this is how Yahweh sees you when you don't have his word. This is what Yahweh sees when there's no one in his word in you. And in this case, you have no strength. And guess what? You have no power. And you know what you are? You're worthless. You can't be used for anything. Just like that loincloth that he mentioned in Jeremiah chapter number 13. You're good for nothing. You really think that the Holy One of Israel wants a people that he can't use? That are not willing to change their mind? You think this is what he wants for us? No, it's not what he wants for us. That's the end. That's the end. That's the end of your Torah portion. That's the end of your teaching today. Listen to me carefully. Yahweh's intention is to get our attention. That's what this is about. You're sent into exile to get your attention. He said, I sent you there. You guys still don't understand what's going on? You still don't get it. You haven't suffered enough? You can't see what's going on. Your eyes are not open. So what we've done as a people is we've gone into what's called distraction mode. We're distracted. Every time I look at the news or try to pick up something to look at, yeah, absolutely. You're right, Israel. Israel they don't consider. Thank you. He says, you guys don't ever consider your situation. An ox knows his master, and his master's stall, and a donkey knows his master's stall. They know. Israel never thinks about it. What's going on? Every time we turn around, somebody got something in our face, a new song, a new movie, a new series, a new this, a new that. Well, I got to do something to distract myself because this is too real. I'm not going to be able to survive this. I got to do something because it's just miserable. Yah wants you and I to feel sorrow. Because it's when you feel sorrow, that's when you begin to think and decide to make up your mind. Sorrow is good. Sorrow is good for Israel. It's excellent. It's excellent. And a lot of times we don't like it. But Yah will use something that's negative to bring out the positive. Like hatred. He'll use your family to hate you. And it'll be a positive thing because it draws you closer to him. He'll use a disability or something, an ailment with your body, your medical. He'll use that to get your attention and put you in a position where he can make you what he wants you to be. So he can spend time with you. You see? Yes, you're right, Condra. Yah has put us in a timeout so you can think about what we've done. I couldn't have said that any better. It's just a timeout. And for our time, we want it to be over quick. But what we can do and what we can understand from this day is that our devotion to the Holy One of Israel, it has to be from within. You have to understand that you were created to be his people. And you're going to be different than everyone else. You're not going to be like them. You're not going to dress like them. You're not going to think like them. You're not going to talk like them. You're not going to eat like them. You're not going to eat. You're not going to be like them. He put us here so we can see the difference and say, well, do you really want to be like them? Do you really want to be like the nations? Because what the nations have done to you is oppressed you. The nations don't know my Torah. The nations are filthy, and they've taught you how to profane and profane me and each other. The nations have taught you how to hate. The nations haven't taught you how to sit back and have a discussion. I try to have discussions all the time on Facebook. Condra can testify to this. She goes through the same thing. Guess what? Nobody wants to have an open dialogue. They don't want a conversation. They want to monologue it. They want to say it from their position, and that's it. They don't want to have a discussion because we don't know how to even talk to each other. So is there unity with our people? Is there unity in the house of Israel? No, there's not. So what we got to do right now, moving forward, is continue down this path of learning. Continue down this path of learning, because when you learn, you'll be like, oh, this is why you brought famine. Oh, this is why you did what you did to our ancestors. Oh, this is why you say to do this and let's don't do this anymore. Oh, I see why you're trying to get close to me. Because guess what? The day that is coming is going to be dreadful. And what happened and what is happening around the world can happen to you and I at any given moment. Whenever Yah decides to destine somebody to something, he'll destine them to it. And there's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you could do about it. And I want to share that with you, and then I'm going to let you go. Let you prepare and have your Shabbat. It's in Jeremiah, and it's in chapter number 15. Now, I don't want you guys to get your feelings hurt. Just understand what it is. Okay? Just understand it. Where is it at? Is it 15? 15. Maybe it's 17. You know, your regular pages you could get somewhere quick, but in your computer pages, computer pages are hard, you guys. They're really hard. They're super hard because you be thinking, oh, it's over here, and then you look in your pages. So I'm gonna go right there and find my page. Yeah, this is gonna probably break a lot of hearts and make you kind of like ask yourself, am I really, is this the God that I'm involved in? Okay. So let me see. We're in the time. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much, Azanya. You knew where I was going. I wanted to read this part. It's 15. Am I 15? Yeah, I am in 15. Yahweh said to me, even if Moshe and Shemuel were standing in front of me, my heart would not turn toward this people. Oh, really? Yeah. Drive them out of my sight. Get them out of here. And when they ask, they ask you where they should go, tell them this is what Yahweh says. Those destined for death, to death. Those destined for the sword, to the sword. Those destined for famine, to the famine. And those destined for captivity, to captivity. I will assign them 4 kinds of scourges, says Yahweh. Yes. The sword to kill, the dogs to drag away, and the birds in the air and the wild animals to devour and destroy. I will make them an object of horror to all the kingdoms of the earth because who? Oh, because of Manasseh, the son of Kiziyahu, the king of Yehuda, because of what he did in Yerushalayim. And that's all I'm going to tell you about him, because remember, I told you his name means my toil and to take away and to forget. And what it was is Manasseh forgot Yah's laws. And what he did is he killed and shed innocent blood in the book of Kings. He shed innocent blood in Jerusalem. And he just kept doing idol worship and everything. So whatever you're destined for and your destiny is, that's where you're going. But here's the beautiful part. You can choose your destiny. You can choose. Yah says to the wicked, you can choose. He said, you can choose. You can decide. It's right there. I don't have to go there. Isaiah 56 tells you all day long. You can choose. Ezekiel 18 tells you all day long. It's your choice. Deuteronomy 30, you choose. Joshua chapter number 25, verse 15, you choose. This day, who you're going to serve. It's your choice. Any contributions, additions, subtractions to this teaching today before we close?
Hi, ACHI'KA David.
Claudie, yes.
Hi.
Koti,
Shabbat shalom to
Shabbat
you
shalom.
and everybody else in the class. I would like to comment on what you revealed to the class about your physical.
Yes.
Yeah, I do sympathize, but what I think is that Father Yahweh always has structure in what he does.
Yes.
In the past, he had Moses as a teacher to Israel. Later on, he had prophets teaching Israel. And I think personally, in today's time, which is, I think is really coming to the end of time,
yes,
he has to gather teachers to teach Israel. And if we go into Daniel, if we look at Daniel 12:4, it says that hide the words and seal the book until the time of the end.
Yes.
Right? Now, I personally believe these words are being revealed now, and the book is open. Now, I think Father Yahweh is choosing his people. And those he has to choose, he has to put them to sit. He has to put you stable.
Yes.
So although I sympathize, I mean, it's something special that's happening. It's something special because if you are busy, if you had to go out to work, if you had to, because we who work, we really don't have time, When you say you go out to work and you come back, you're tired and you just want to go to bed. But he had to put you still so that you can open. Look at how you've opened this book and look at how you understand these words and look at how you're teaching it. And most of all, you don't have to drive or you don't have to go out to bring out these words to the world. You could sit right in your room and you could teach us. So I think Father Yahweh is choosing his teachers.
Yes.
And that's what it is. And I hope this could, bring you some comfort.
No, that, I gotta tell you something. Those are comforting words to me, Okoti. I love you for that because it is true. Because I asked him the other day, like, why? And he's like, if you were busy, you would be doing a whole bunch of other things. You would be cutting the yard, building your house. You'd be doing all kinds of other things. But what you said is it is special. And I accept it. At first it was hard, it's difficult, and it's painful. But because I experienced pain all, during the day, not all day, but a great part of the day. And but it drives me to be more thankful. But also too, I have nowhere else to go but to the Torah. That's where I spend my time. A majority of my time, my day is spent in the Torah. And so I praise him for that. And I praise him for what you said. And I praise him for this opportunity to glorify him and to be part of his plan, to be a teacher for him. Because you're right. You guys are, those of you who are working, you don't have the opportunity. You don't have the time. You can't dig deep like what I'm digging. because it takes hours and hours and hours and hours.
It
But I'm
does.
able, and I give it to you freely because I love you and I love him, and I want to bring glory to his name, and I want to help his people understand where we are and what we need to do and how to transform our thinking. You know, so I'm more cerebral when we think about this. I have to think on that level because right now the physicality is not necessarily the part of it. It's the brain. It's how Yah wants to deal with our brains and what our thoughts are and where everything comes from. So that's where our actions come from. It comes from our brain. That's where our thoughts, our emotions, is all in how we think. So I praise Yahweh for your contribution. Thank you so much for those words. And they are very comforting to me. I needed them. And you
Praise Yah for that.
kiss that beautiful husband of yours for me.
You will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom again. Aki Dalit.
Yeah.
Let me first say I give all the glory, all honor, all praise to the Most High Creator, the supreme intellect, the moral compass, and universal consciousness. Possess a creator of the universe and all that is within it. I want to give due honor to you and to your teaching today. I found really profoundly when you went to the famine of the word, and you put the famine of the word of the Most High with the famine of the body. And we as the people of the Most High, who should be a nation of priests unto other nations, we have to really take in consideration what you did today with that. Because for me, that was the point that I was like, wow. Because now I see with the body and the absence of food and the mind with the absence of the word of the Most High God, what we look like, what we're going to look like inside. And that's a very scary stuff right there.
Yeah.
Because when I always read that and I was like, our forefather had the servitude of the Most High present with them. And they did what they did. And we didn't have it, but I've never articulated it to see or we suffer inside by not having what they had. But the good thing with us, as you said, there is a means to the hands and there's a way back.
Yes.
There is a way back.
There is a way.
Because he said, I put you away in anger and I put you away just for a little while, but with great love and kindness will I bring you back.
I'll bring you back.
There's condition to coming back also. As you said, there is a condition to coming back.
Yeah.
And your teaching today it's not you. Whoever can handle the truth, so be it. Because he said, I'm going to bring back a remnant, but a righteous remnant, and they will understand what you're saying. Because what you're saying is not for everybody, my brother. Everybody will not get this. They will not want it because people don't want truth. You said pain changed people and truth changed people. They don't want to change. They are okay in what they have. They don't want to change. They don't want to transform to the Most High words and his Torah and his commandment because they want to run to this guy and do all kind of profanity and then run back to this guy. But we know, as you said earlier, the Most High said, I forgive sin, but yes, no means the guilty is set free. Right. And they think by running to JC, they're all free. And sometimes I wonder, they don't get it. But this is what I read the other day, and it's so profound to me. Deuteronomy, when the Most High God said, he said, I took you out of Mizraim. I took you to the Red Sea. I led you by a cloud by day and fire by night. But he said, I did not give you a heart to perceive. None of this. Right. And we have to give the Most High thanks for us who do give the heart to perceive his word. I know that he is Elohim of all things. So we have to know that this is our heritage. This is our way of life. And this is what we have to do. We could do the best we can do. And we got family who don't understand us and think we're crazy. But it will never be for everybody because the Most High going to choose those who choose him. And he said, draw nigh to me, I will draw nigh to you. And I love your message. And trust me, I'm looking forward for your Hebrew class later because I'm going to join in. All right. I continue to bless you with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and bring forth his words for us who want it, because this is bread for us. This is meat for us.
Yes.
And I love you teaching again, brother. And I say Toda Rabba for your life and for your family life and for those who love you and for those who you love. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Toda Rabba. Very kind words of you, Aki. Thank you so much. Azanya.
Shalom, 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 Shabbat shalom. Thank you so much, brother, for the teaching. And I don't want to be anxious to speak, but I did want to say a word to what you said earlier in your wonderful teaching about why some people are reluctant to come to you. And I must say, one of the first teachings that I heard from you, you went on about how Yah was not with us. And I was one of those stone-hearted people that said, why is he saying that? Yes, he is. And, you know, and so it was wonderful because I think 18 months ago, it would have completely turned me off to the teachings, but it just, you know, it made me lean back, and then I came back in because the food that Yahweh is having you offer our nation right now is delectable to the eyes, but also when you really partake in it, it's even better. And I will say this much: our people are going to realize. Jeremiah 6:21, Yah is really putting so many stumbling blocks before us right now. Behold, I will lay stumbling blocks before this people, and the fathers and the sons together shall fall on them. The neighbor and his friend shall perish. That's Jeremiah 6:21. And us thinking that Yah, Yohewah, is with us when we're sick and we're afraid, and it's obvious that what you're saying is correct. I had a testimony up about how I was healed from cancer. I sure was, but I deal with the after effects of all the surgery, radiation, chemo. I deal with the after effects of it every day, and it's debilitating. Yes, so yes, and I'm still not back in the classroom teaching. I probably won't ever go back, you know. But he's still using these curses to bring us where we need to be. Yes. And without utter humility, we won't get there. And so I had to humble myself to swallow what you were offering, and I knew that I was in the right place because of it. You understand?
I understand.
Yes. Yep. I knew I was in the right place because of it, because that's what learning is about. It's supposed to give you that which makes you better and brings about change. It's not dessert. No. It's not just sitting and eating fluff all the time. We have to work for this. And that means we have to shed the layers of what does not serve him and what he can't deal with. And so it's really beautiful. Keep on telling Israel that, because it's a stumbling block, and there's so many different doctrines for us to think that we are here. You talked about the 4 different types of judgments. You know, we get diabetes, hypertension, cancer. I mean, we have one thing after another, and for us to think that he is abiding with us in a way that we reversed our situation, and now the blessings are overtaking us, as it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 2. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but we have to humble ourselves. We're blind. He said, who was blind like my servant? And so, so I thank you for keep on, you know, that you kept on with it, that you didn't lean back because you understood that people were turning away from you because of it, that you kept your integrity in the Most High, and it shed me of a false doctrine. So all praise to the Most High.
All
Yes.
praise.
Hallelujah. Yes. Thank
Hallelujah.
you.
Yeah, thank you for that word. It's interesting you should mention the word humility. In Hebrew, it's called an anah. And anah is, transliterated A-N-A-H, anah. Anah means humility, but also means affliction.
Okay.
So affliction is part of
Hallelujah.
humility. So Yah uses affliction to grab his people. That's his way of doing things. And that's something that we're uncomfortable with, because we believe that comfort is Yah will comfort his people, but before he comforts us, he allows us to be afflicted. It's not until you get afflicted did you have an understanding of what it means to be humbled. I had to humble myself. Yah has shown me that, like I told you, I said, I'm doing your will. He said, no, I'm the one who humbled you. I afflict you so you can do what, if you were not where you were a year and a half ago, you'd be out driving your car or doing business and doing opportunities. But I didn't choose you for that. I chose you for this. And I need that for my people. So, cry about your pain, but also understand, cry. And I gave them thanks for my pain. So I would encourage you, yes, to say thank you for the pain, whatever you're suffering, whatever anyone is suffering. You may not be suffering affliction from your body. You might be in your mind or things you're going through your job. Thank Yahweh for it, because Yahweh brings it to us, and he brings it to us so we can draw closer to him, because he knows that that's the only way that Israel will seek Yahweh is through affliction. He knows that that's the only way we're able to get it. So I thank him for that. I thank him for your kind words. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Anyone else?
Hallelujah.
Oh yes, let's we got, you got a my Akoti. Was it 1971? Yeah. My Akoti, I have an Akoti on here. Her name is Condra, and she's something special. Let's see what she says. She, people put in, when you go to a club, they usually remember we used to go to the club, people like, hey, put this song on. Hey, I need you to run that track. Hey, if I do this song. So now we're called doing this, we're doing requests. So the request is in Psalms 119. Oh, look at that. That's a song. So we go put on the album 119. Album 119, verse number 71 says this. And this is powerful. It says, it is, oh, praise the Holy One. It is for my good that I've been humbled. I've been anah, meaning I've been afflicted. It was so that I would learn your laws. Yes, yes, yes. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. It's for our good. Oh, you better hear it. So we can learn Yahweh's ways, his Torah. This whole thing is. I delight in it. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Hallelujah. Is any more requests? Any more requests? I can put on another album. Who wants to put who wants to put something else? Who want to say thank you, Sister Condra, for that? I appreciate that. It's through our affliction. Because that word there, humble, is afflicted. Praise the Holy One. Anyone else? Music still playing. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. I hope you were able to gather something from your teaching today. I did. I learned a lot from it. And in summary, Joseph comes to a point where we're going to talk about next week. It's going to be the grand finale between him and his brothers, and whether or not they have learned their lesson. And bringing it's called Wayigash, meaning to approach. And so we're going to see what that's about for next week. And so, our prayers that the Holy One of Israel reveal more of his truth to us and show us about our lives and show us what are the things we need to do until next time, And so the rest of this week, I want you to continue to learn, continue to study, continue to pray, continue to prostrate yourselves. Yishtakawe means to lay down and prostrate yourself before the Holy One as a sign of your devotion okay? To let him know that you're loyal to him and that you choose him above all things, that I love you more than I love life itself, and I'm not going to let things distract me from you. And that's what it is. That's what he wants. He wants the praise that his name is worthy of receiving. And even in the time of our profanation, because we are profaning his name by being here, it is not intentional, because he does say that I will receive your thanks from you. And that's in Psalms 50. I will receive honor from you. Your thanksgiving will be an offering I will receive. So if you say thank you to Yahweh for what he's done, you thank him for the Torah, you thank him for his teachings, you thank him for the time that he's given you, you thank him for your life. There's a lot to be thankful for. So I'm not, by any means advocating for no prayer life or none of that. What I'm saying is we have to make our prayer life more meaningful and more substantive, because we have to really be honest, and we have to stop being religious in our prayers. Yah would rather for you to sit down on the ground and just talk to him and tell him. And if you don't know what to say, tell him, I don't know what to say. And he's okay, be quiet now, I'll talk to you. And then you sit there. Prayer sometimes is not about you talking. Prayer is sometimes just about you sitting there and listening. And and then you have these thoughts, you'll be like, where did that come from? And he'll bring something up to you about yourself. And then when he brings it to you, it's going to break your heart. You're going to cry. And then, but he's not, this is the process he's done for me. Yah has been breaking me down, but he doesn't break me all at one time. He's not trying to crush me to crush me. He's breaking me, but he's taking his time with me. It's like, yes. He humbles us, and we go humbly in his presence. You're right, Adonai. We go in his presence, and we're going to a place of being broken. And when we come to that broken place, we say, I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper with you, and I'm going to tell you my secrets. You tell Yah the secrets that you've been keeping, and ask him, what are the secrets that I've been keeping? Because some of the secrets that we have, we like to hide them, and we even forgot where we hid them at. So he says, bring those secrets to me. Ask me to reveal them to you. And then once he brings them to you, he's going to bring it to you, and then you're going to see it, and then you're going to be heartbroken of it. And then you go ahead and you shoot from it and ask him to help you with it. If you're suffering from anything, because we have our things that we deal with, okay? You can still ask the Holy One of Israel, okay, I'm doing this. And show me what it is about, not it, but what's behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's always the why. It's not what, it's always the why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because you know what you're doing. You just don't know why you're doing it. And you need to figure out what that why is. So that's my wisdom to you today. Someone says prayer is about speaking. Yeah. Prayer is not about we speaking. Yes. It's about Yahweh speaking to us. Yes. It is, Claudia. That's right. He's speaking to us. Yes. Hallelujah. Praise. Thank you, Sister Akoti. Pamela, thank you so much for your comments. And you too, Jared. Ahavata, I love you guys. Praise the Holy One of Israel. With that being said, I say to you, Shabbat Shalom. You guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. Shabbat is over when the sun starts to go down. That's when it's over, because the sun is no longer, it's changing its rulership, and we're going into another phase. And then we'll begin our new week coming up when the sun comes up tomorrow. Praise the Holy One. Yes, Sister Pam.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Shabbat Shalom. All right, you guys, you have a good one. Oh, my class today is today we're going to be in lesson number 2, verbs. Don't be intimidated. I'll send you, come onto the class, send me your email. I'll send you lesson number 1 that you haven't received yet. And then I'll send you and we'll go over lesson number 2. Okay. We're going to go over that. What I do is I'll give you the lesson. I'll go over it. We'll go page by page. You get some understanding about it. And then, you go do the lessons during the week, during the time. You spend like 5 to 10 minutes with it a day. And before you know it, you'll get it. It's just not it's not a microwavable meal. You don't get everything just by pushing a couple buttons and you're done. It takes time. It's a process. So if you'd like to participate in that, it costs you absolutely nothing but your time. I do it for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We'll go over it. You have questions, and then I'll send you the lesson, the paper lesson. Okay. If you don't have a Hebrew, learn how to read Hebrew book, you give me your email, I'll send that to you too. So it could teach you how to read. So while you're learning about the verbs, you'll learn how you read, and you'll always have the lesson. So you can always go back and you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. So you might not get it the first time, you get it the second time. And there's no worry about that. Okay. So don't feel like you can't come because you don't know Hebrew. No, come and learn. If you even learn what the letter Aleph looks like, then you learn something. You understand? So don't try to, well, I can't come to class. Oh, you missed a semester. It's too late. You can't come to the class until 3 months from now. It doesn't work like that. In Hebrew, you're always going to learn something. The way that I teach it, I'm always going to teach you something. Like today, you learned what the letter Resh is. You learned what the letter Bet is. And then you spark your interest. You guys keep coming to the class. And all of a sudden, things will just keep coming to you. And you just keep staying on it. And you have to do that. Okay? So I love each and every last one of you. I'm so happy that you are able to spend your day with us today. Praise the Holy One of Israel. And I'll see you next week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat
Good day,
shalom.
Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom.